All right. It seems that we are alive. And welcome to this session on exploring Serbia's tech landscape within, of course, the virtual tech job fair. And I have a pleasure to lead this session today. I'm Slobo Markovic, and I work at the United Nations Development Program in Serbia as digital advisor. Today with me, I have two exceptional panelists and my friends as well. Milan Šolaja from the Vojvodina ICT cluster. Vojvodina ICT cluster is one of the probably biggest and oldest software cluster in Serbia. And Milan will tell us a bit more about it in a second. While Tadej works at the Digital Serbia Initiative, which is one of the biggest organizations of the Serbian IT community. And as a matter of fact, because I presume that many of you may know a lot more about these organizations, I would ask Milan first and then Tadej to tell us a bit more about the organizations from which they come from. Because they're both membership organizations and they have a long tradition in Serbian IT scene. So Milan, tell us a bit more about Vojvodina ICT cluster.
Yes, thank you, Slobodan. Well, my internet connection seems to be a little bit unstable. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So thank you, first of all, for organizers for having me today and at this panel. It's a great pleasure to join you. Vojvodina ICT cluster was established in 2010 upon initiative from the IT company primarily. Those were the years when IT was not in focus of anybody in Serbia. It was only the starting of the development of the sector, and it was very interesting to see how companies joined together and educational institutions supported the formation of the cluster, and some governmental involvement was there also. But we were pretty aware from the start that ICT, at the rate that it was growing then, although it was very insignificant, is going to rapidly evolve and take a lot more of economic space in Serbia. So we have prepared for future. Basically, there are four pillars of work of Vojvodina ICT cluster. First one is education, where we started from the beginning to get involved into upskilling of the existing IT workforce, because at the time IT companies were established upon knowledge of the coders, programmers, people who were strictly IT and lacking business skills, and we jumped in providing education in the business skills, soft skills, etc. Later on, we have expanded this educational activities to strictly IT areas, and we have very good cooperation with Scrum.org for over 12 years now. We also worked with Setup and Quality House on software testing, etc., etc. Later still, we have decided to try and see if it is possible to help people who are not in IT to enter the IT area. And we have established Brains Academy that ever since 2014 is dealing with informal education for IT. We are creating full stack junior programmers in Java, in .NET, and different languages. We also did a lot in preparing and implementation of the courses for children. Our aim was at the time to show that there are better ways to work with children when it comes to IT than it was the case in Serbia. This initiative, together with other players, among which Digital Serbia is an important one, ended in making the coding mandatory subject in elementary schools from the 5th grade on. Second pillar is projects. Projects, and mainly European funded projects, are one of the sustainability cornerstones for our business. We do these projects for, since we were established, so for past 12 years. Nowadays, we are partners in very big consortia in Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020 programs, SIPA, Interreg, etc. So we always try to get involved in projects that have to do with areas of expertise of our member companies, so they can get involved or at least have some kind of utility out of these efforts. Another pillar is networking, because this is a contact sport. It is important who you know, and we have pretty good database of thousands of contacts, and we are sure that we can reach anybody on the planet that it takes 2 or 3 steps to do that. And this is, of course, available to all of our members. And the final pillar, I would say, is lobbying, where we try to fight for a better environment for IT companies, for better regulation, and for strategic aspects of this business. So we did have a lot of cooperation with government, especially since Ms. Brnabić became a prime minister. We finally got somebody to answer our phone calls and emails, and we had opportunity even to fight with them when we didn't agree. So it was quite dynamic period, especially for past 6 or 7 years, but we did a lot of progress during this time. Apart from these pillars, we'd also do a lot of bilateral projects with organizations such as German Organization for International Cooperation, GIZ, USAID, United Nations Development Fund, and also with the government of Serbia in terms of, especially in terms of informal education for IT, different projects with different ministries. So all in all, we are still present as one of the players that, especially among the clusters, that is very active, and I would say that we have quite visible position more in outside of Serbia. It used to be more outside of Serbia than in, but in later years, we are pretty visible in Serbia also, and we enjoy support from the IT community and try to do a lot of things together with them. Basically, our vision is Digital Serbia, a country where IT sector will not be recognized only as a successful vertical, but also as a sector that has huge horizontal capacities to support economic development in all sectors, and to raise competitiveness of our companies, to raise quality of life of people in Serbia, and to improve public services also. So basically what we do is connect players from the triple helix, business, education, and government, around the projects and initiatives that in one way or the other support achievement of this vision that we have. And we were lucky to have a lot of very good partners on this way, and a lot of success also.
Thank you, Milan. This was a great introduction, and this is, of course, one of the reasons why you're sitting here on this panel. You mentioned the Digital Serbia, so Tadej, can you tell us a bit more about the DSI?
Sure. Thank you, Slobodan, and thank you for having me on this panel. I will start by saying that Digital Serbia initiative is something you could call an industry organization. It was founded in 2017 by 9 leading companies with a strong vision for Serbia to become an active participant in the 4th Industrial Revolution, and believing that this Industrial Revolution 4.0 is an opportunity for Serbia to pivot its economy towards the economy of knowledge and innovation, and to, in this way, let's say, emerge as one of the winners in new industrial revolution. Today, we have more than 30 member companies from all sectors relevant for the growth of the digital ecosystem. And it's not only IT sector. We have, of course, we have a lot of tech companies, big tech companies, but we have also banking and finance. We have telco, consulting. We have educational and research institutions, also media and pharma companies, as well as startup support organizations. So it's diverse membership, but all companies and members are really focused and devoted towards our goals. And through various projects and activities, we collaborate and let's say all the companies, even though they are in some arenas competitors, when they act as parts of Digital Serbia initiative, they are working together to create better opportunities for the new generations in education, career choices, also through support of technology startups, and promote innovative laws to create better opportunities for all through the development of the digital economy. So basically, we have four key focus areas: education, startup ecosystem, regulatory framework, and public dialogue. And I myself are working in the startup ecosystem focus area of Digital Serbia initiative. I'm program director of an USAID-backed project, Venture an Idea, which is implemented by consortium, consisted not only by Digital Serbia initiative, but by Startit and New Spark, Nova Iskra, two of the oldest Serbian startup support organizations, but also PwC and Faculty of Organizational Sciences in Belgrade. So it's also very diverse project consortium, and we are working to, let's say, increase the number of startups in Serbia to promote entrepreneurial mindset and basically to widen this innovation funnel by supporting ideation phase of startup development through pre-seed and seed phase too. So I'll stop here, and we can switch to other questions.
Yeah, I also want to add two more things to what you said. This is the you work a lot on also on different initiatives of the government providing like a policy advice in different areas related to IT and entrepreneurship. And also organize a big conference. One of these conferences, which is called Split Tech, was just finished last week in Belgrade. So
yes, yes, the Split Tech is the biggest tech conference gathering innovative ecosystem, I think, in the region of Western Balkans, and also this part of our involvement in regulatory framework. I would like to maybe single out our involvement in creation of a startup ecosystem development strategy, the government strategy that where we had the work group, which was the first time ever a non-government organization heading the government working group.
Thank you. I think that you really won't find better starting places for anything Serbia tech related, other than the Vojvodina ICT cluster and Digital Serbia initiative. So this is why I thought that it was important to learn a bit more about what they do. And now you have, you know, a bit more about that, and you also can contact Tadeo and Milan for any further cooperation or information. But I would like now to turn more to Serbian tech ecosystem and maybe get a snapshot of it from starting with Milan. So you worked a lot on analyzing and mapping the Serbian tech ecosystem, and you've been doing this for a number of years. I know that Vojvodina ICT cluster published at least 3 or 4 reports called the Serbia ICT at a glance, and the latest edition came out in 2022. So can you tell us, just paint us a picture of like a snapshot of the Serbian ICT ecosystem?
Yes, let me try. Well, actually, we have published the edition from 2022 was the 6th edition that we did. We owe great appreciation to German Organization for International Cooperation that helped us with every and each of these publications. Basically, data in this edition is for 2021. But right now we are working on a new edition that we expect to be published in the next spring. But for now, we will just stick to this one with maybe some additional comments from these things that we already know from our research. So Vojvodina IT Cluster does this publication biannually, every 2 years approximately. And we think that this is a quite good enough period for tapping a pulse of the industry. We have decided to do this because early in our existence, because we have noticed that there was no actually good records about the specifically IT industry in Serbia, and we have started to follow it up together with one of our members, which is Mineko Computers, company that does a lot of analysis in this sector and was instrumental in doing this research. So a little bit about general business environment and ICT statistics. As I said, this is the data for 2021. Percent of GDP spent on research and development was less than 1%. Whereas government fund in this area were estimated at 0.5%, which is altogether much less than we would like it to be, but we will see if this is going to be increased in future. Of course, government initiative is very important in this. A domestic IT market was at 736 million, IT services 39.7%, software 16.5%, and hardware 43.9%. And the domestic IT market was always important for us as an indicator of the development of the society at large, because the more you spend on IT services and the solutions, the more you show signs of modern business doing. So for a long time, the index of spending on IT per capita was around 60 euros per capita, which is far less than European average, which is above 800 euros per capita. And each of these editions, we were trying to map the growth that would lead us to at least 1 billion value of the domestic market, which divided by the number of the population would get us to 150 euros per capita. Why this number is important is all the countries that have entered the European Union in 2004 had an average of 150 euros per capita investment in IT. So in recent years, we finally see the increase of the domestic market. Nowadays, at least in 2021, IT investment per capita were at 108 euros. So we have broken through this psychological barrier of 100. And we hope that this trend will continue as we record 2-digit growth of the domestic market for the past 4 years, which is very encouraging. Total IT industry revenue was 3.93 billion. This involves IT and telecommunication, which makes together 7.4 of GDP. IT services export 1.7 billion, later next year 2.5 billion, which made 3.2% of GDP and respectively almost 4%. Telecommunications sector's revenue was 1.99 billion. There were 3,768 IT companies with 48,173 employees, which made 2.4 of total Serbian workforce. In the meantime, these numbers increased significantly, so we can talk about 55,000+ professionals and around 3% of the Serbian workforce. Revenue per employee used to be 81,591 euro in IT. So these are some of the general indicators about or a snapshot that you have, as you described it, for the Serbian IT. A little bit wider picture puts Serbia still in, I would say, tier 5 on the global IT market. For years, we did have strong growth of IT export, IT services export. Average rate was 25% per year, except during Corona. But even in that year, we had a growth, only a small one, only 4%. But any growth for 2020 is really a success. And we rebounded very successfully after that to have a 40% growth in a year that followed the crisis with COVID. So I would say that this 2.5 million export of IT services, Serbia has finally become a respected and respectful destination for, I would not say outsourcing, but actually for custom software development, because outsourcing of general practice cannot cut it anymore. If you are in IT and you want to grow and succeed, you really need to specialize, be it in a market niche, be it in a technology, clientele, whatever, but you really have to specialize, and Serbian IT companies picked up this trend and did the right thing. So all is quite well in this area. There was a lot of talk about crisis during this year, because as we know, after COVID, there was a decrease in funding, especially for startups in the West. This had an effect, of course, in Europe and including Serbian IT. But I always maintained, and I still maintain, that this was not a crisis. This was just a market correction. And because this was the first time that Serbian IT felt this kind of influence of the global IT market, a lot of people thought that this was a serious crisis. But the numbers speak differently. I mean, employment in ICT in Serbia steadily rise up in this year to, I think, almost 4,000. Export is also has been growing, so no sign of any real crisis is there. There were companies that were really hit by this market correction, but that was because of the specific reasons. Either they invested too heavily and too boldly during the previous time, and now they had to cut short, or they had, so to speak, all of the eggs in one basket. They didn't diversify enough their markets, their specializations, and then they were hit by this market correction.
I wanted to ask you one more thing, which I think marked the last year especially, and a part of this year as well, and this is a big influx of ICT talent from Russia to Serbia.
Yeah, Russia and Ukraine. And also a foundation of a lot of companies by people who came from these areas. There was a lot of stir about these events in Serbia, but I see it as more positive than negative development, because IT companies in Serbia got used long ago to have foreign companies coming to Serbia, and only real competition is on the labor market. As we know, labor is something that is problematic everywhere around Europe, and I would say even globally. So, but in the long run, these companies are going to stay here. These people are probably going to stay here, or not, they're going to leave. But those who stay here are working for these companies, but tomorrow they might be working for Serbian-based companies also. So this is a very live labor market, and things shift easily, and the conditions for everybody are the same. So I really see it as just another stepping stone in development of the domestic IT market, whether it is oriented toward domestic market or towards IT export. The people that are coming are good for this sector, I would say.
Yeah,
And you know, the data from the field doesn't contradict this at all.
yeah, just to put things in perspective, when we talk about this influx, we're talking about, you know, tens of thousands of people. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know the exact figures or the estimates. Do you have them, maybe?
No, it's very hard to get this, but we will try to do something in our next publication. So next spring we might know and have a much better picture about this.
Yeah, there was a talk about around 1,000 or 1,200 companies established, and probably maybe, you know, 5,000, between 5 and 10,000 IT people who came. But I mean, you know, it's really hard to estimate.
It is really very hard to estimate. Serbian statistical system has some flaws that we are trying to overcome. Like, for example, registering company as an IT company, you can pick different codes in the statistical register, and it's very hard to get who is really IT company and not. So we rely much more on our field research than on, or we combine, you know, statistical data with research from the field. That's how we come with these figures.
Yeah, that was the thing that I didn't mention, but it's really important mentioning that you don't rely just on you know, taking over the existing government statistics. That you dig deep, and that you leverage your knowledge of the ecosystem to actually identify and make more precise classifications.
Yes,
So,
yes, we
so
try
this
to
is
do that.
So this is why, you know, of course, the Serbia ICT at a glance study is regarded really highly as a benchmark for, you know, how our system progresses.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'd like Tadej to tell us a bit more about the startup ecosystem and generally dig deeper a bit more in this area.
Okay, let me start from the conclusion. I want to just confirm and rearm this position that the knowledge and innovation are the greatest opportunity for Serbia, and that the startup ecosystem can be driver of the country's business and economical development. And everything I will say following this will go basically in this direction. So I think it's important to have this conclusion in mind from the start. Everything I will say is will be based on two research. One is Startup Genome Report for the Belgrade Novi Sad startup ecosystem, and the other research is called Startup Scanner, which is conducted by Venture and Idea Project and Digital Serbia Initiative. And it's basically, we create a yearly snapshot of the ecosystem. So I don't know, did we post this poll?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the polls. So you have the option to vote in the poll. And there was a question posted by Dora about the share of Serbian exports of IT services in relation to the value of the global ICT services market. And the question's been up for some time. You had a chance to vote, but we have another one, another poll.
So this new poll will ask the question how much what is the number of startups in Serbia, and you should vote quickly because I will quickly come to this number. Serbian startup ecosystem has recorded exponential growth in the past couple of years, and this is we can see this through a number of indicators. Startup Genome Report assesses the value of Serbian startup ecosystem at surpassing $1 billion. And if we compare to pre-corona period, this is the growth of 75%. while the average growth of startup ecosystem value is less than 50%. So we are our startup ecosystem is by startup genome report growing in value faster than global average. But there are some even more relevant, I'd say, indicators, and for the occasion of having a debate, having a panel on the job fair, I think the very relevant information is that our estimate is that in 2022, startups in Serbia hired over 2,000 new employees. And their projection for 2023 is 3,000 new jobs. But this rapid growth has also brought challenges in areas of expanding into new markets, scaling, access to funding, and finding suitable staff. A comparison on year-to-year results show a consistent trend in sales increase, capital raising, and hiring new team members. Over 2/3 of startups that participated in our research predict their business would grow by over 50% in 2023. So let's see the result of the poll. How many? What option?
Most people think that we have between 400 and 600, 80%, while 20% thinks that the figure is between 600 and 800, and that's
the figure is between 600 and 800. We had 600 startups at the beginning of 2023, and now we have over 700. And at the beginning of 2022, we had around 450 startups. So it is really a rapid and exponential growth of the ecosystem we are witnessing. Our expectation is that once the number of startups grows over 1,000, the ecosystem, we will have the flywheel effect, and that the ecosystem growth will additionally increase. So as Milan said, there is this year-over-year increase of exports by Serbian IT sector, and Serbia is known for its engineering talent. So what really adds up with the growth of Serbian startup ecosystem is this increased focus on innovation-led development by academia in Serbia, by industry, new access to finance opportunities, including business angel group formed by Digital Serbia Initiative, and some VC funds forming and coming to Serbia, but also the government efforts. What I can say is that the median seed round for Serbian startups is around 350K, while the European average is 600K. So Serbian startups have a bit still of disadvantage of not having the access to finance at the level of startups developing in Western European countries. But with this combination of tech talent, the tax incentives, and innovation, let's say emerging innovation culture, we've seen a couple of subsectors of the ecosystem, like gaming, blockchain, and life sciences, leading the ecosystem development. So I can perhaps give you a little bit more data, which will help you understand the pace of the ecosystem development. Majority of startups in Serbia, over 66%, so over 2/3 of all startups in Serbia were registered between 2020 and 2022 at the beginning of this year. So basically, 2/3 of startups were registered after the outbreak of Corona. And this is why let's say, most startups are in early stage development. We don't have much A series and B series startups. 22% of startups are actually preparing themselves to enter the market. They have MVP, but they are not on the market yet. While 1/3 of all startups in Serbia have their first customers and are testing product market fit. So basically, let's now come back to the conclusion from the beginning, and that is that we see the growth of the startup ecosystem. We see the growth of IT industry. These 2,000 jobs I mentioned that were already open in 2022, and these 3,000 that are projected to be open this year. These are all highly paid, good jobs, where people will grow and develop themselves on their jobs. And basically, we are expecting this exponential growth of the startup ecosystem to bring even more opportunities for the economy and society, because we see there is a non-linear effect. Not only that the ecosystem is growing in non-linear way, but the effect of its growth is also non-linear.
Thank you. As we have a bit less than 10 minutes more for this session, I wanted to ask you, Tadej, following up on what you already said about the near future and the prospects in the near future. Of course, I think that we would probably all agree that there'll be a rising tide, I would say, of probably startups dealing more with AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, and these kind of things in the years to come, with the improving financing climate, so to speak, or global macroeconomics. But I think that there is also a huge possibility for development, beyond just the regular tech jobs there.
Yes. We actually we created 2 years ago a guide. You can find it on our website, preduzmi.rs, and it's called How to Get a Job in Tech, but it's for non-tech people. So for people without tech education and without prior work experience in tech. And we singled out almost 20 different roles that are non-tech roles, and that are highly valued in tech sector, where the companies are actively searching for and hiring people in these areas. And you have to understand that tech sector is not just for people who have tech education and tech background. It's an industry, and especially when companies start developing their own products, they need the whole process. They need sales, they need marketing people. We have let's say examples of Serbian scale-ups like Nordius, which has more or almost more artists and sales and marketing people, and people doing scripts and developing games in other ways than people who are actually coding. And you have to understand that in much of the digital entertainment sector and gaming sector, it's like this, that thousands of creative jobs are being opened on the platform of creating games and digital entertainment. I recently visited the company in Serbia creating short animated series for Italian market, and they have over 100 people, and I think that less than third are coders. The rest are like 3D model people and people doing scripting, post-production, and so on. So there is it's a emerging industry. I think it's not even emerging anymore. It's the main export industry of Serbia at this point, and it will continue to grow. And I think there is room for thousands and thousands of talented and motivated people in the IT sector, and especially in the startup ecosystem.
Thank you, and thanks for mentioning the Serbian gaming ecosystem. We really didn't have time to go into each vertical, but for those who are interested, the really vibrant Serbian gaming community is gathered around the Serbian Gaming Association. So you can head to sga.rs to find out more about them. They also have an annual report that they publish about the community, so you can check it out there. I'd like to ask Milan as well about what do you think are the prospects of development of Serbian market in the near to midterm.
Yeah, well, we keep look at it in a dual form as domestic market and IT export. For the domestic market, our hopes are high that this trend will continue with increased efforts of government for digitalization and digital transformation of the economy in Serbia. We will certainly try to help in this process. But regarding the IT exports, this poll that we have posted is tied to this issue. I see that majority of our listeners and the audience think that 7% is the partake of Serbian exports in global IT market value, but this would make over 50 billion exports for Serbia. So the correct answer is 0.4%. And this means that there is a huge potential and huge space for further growth for Serbian IT regarding the international markets. And judging from the behavior for past 15 years, we are posted very, very good to use this opportunity in future. We have a lot of companies that are mature already. We have a lot of business people in this sector that know their stuff and know how to position themselves, how to find work. And despite this recent market correction that caused us to look for projects a little bit more than to just wait for them to fill in our lap, this is a very good trend. So I believe that the future is still bright. Of course, it will also depend on other factors that we cannot predict, like geopolitical situation, as the conflict in Ukraine showed us it could affect the economy. But set that aside, I expect continuous growth of this sector, especially when it comes to IT exports from Serbia.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience, perhaps? Dora? Lana? No.
We must have been very clear.
Okay, then in this case, let me thank Tadej and Milan for this interesting conversation. I think that you could get a bit more information about the Serbian ICT ecosystem and its prospects. I would direct you to the websites of these two organizations. It's Vojvodina ictcluster.org and dsi.rs. I also mentioned Serbian Gaming Association. This is sga.rs. But I also want to direct you to two government websites. The first one is ai.gov.rs, which is dealing with AI initiatives of Serbian government, and the second big bet, I would say, of Serbian government is in biotech. So you can find out more about this at bio4 number 4, so bio4.rs. And with this, I will finish this session, and thank you for your attention. And of course, thanks to
Thank you for having us.
for having us.
Yes, thank you.